school feel welcoming, inclusive, and connected.
We'd like to share a short video that shows what First Friday assemblies look like and why they matter to our students and staff. Please enjoy this video.
Good morning, my beautiful. It is a chilly day here in Pacifica, and we are so happy to be together for our first Friday assembly. Let's give ourselves a round of applause because we are the best school ever. Nice. Now,
We are the Orcas. At each of our First Friday assemblies, we are reminded of our Orca values. We are outstanding, responsible, courteous, and demonstrate a good attitude in all we do. Here are a few of our students sharing how they demonstrate our Orca values in the classroom, yard, restrooms, cafeteria, and hallways.
I'm outstanding in a classroom when I follow the teacher's directions the first time.
Great attitude in the cafeteria when I think about the earth when I'm cleaning up.
I have a good attitude when I help my friends in the yard.
I am responsible in the yard when I clean up.
When I am responsible in the restrooms when I flush the toilet.
I'm outstanding in the yard when I include others.
I'm outstanding in the classroom when I follow the teacher's directions.
When I am outstanding in the cafeteria when I use my inside voice.
I'm courteous in the cafeteria when I'm nice to others.
I'm courteous in the classroom when I help my friends.
Our first Friday assembly for February was a bit different. Our 7th and 8th graders were in touch with the Pacifica Resource Center, and they let us know they were in need for breakfast items. We decided to focus just on cereal so we could have a domino challenge. After much trial and error, we had a successful launch last week. Check it out.
After the domino challenge, our 7th and 8th graders loaded up 437 boxes of cereal to be delivered to the Pacifica Resource Center. Next time we do this challenge, we will try for even more boxes.
As you can see, First Friday assemblies are something we really look forward to. They're fun, but they're also meaningful.
They help us feel proud of our school and comfortable being leaders. Younger students look up to older students, and older students learn responsibility and confidence.
It's also a great way to start the month on a positive note. Everyone leaves feeling connected and motivated to do their best.
Bringing students together regularly makes a big difference for a TK through 8 school. We invite any school board members or district office staff to attend one of our upcoming First Friday assemblies. We'd love to have you join us and experience it in person.
Thank you for your time and supporting opportunities that help build strong school communities. We appreciate you listening and supporting our schools.
Thank you very much. And it would be appreciated if the principal could email what time your First Fridays start. Okay, Barbara, can you take roll call? Here. The district records the audio portion of the meetings. All recordings are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during that time period for inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. All public comment must be made in person unless a board member will attend remotely or as otherwise specified on the board agenda. Speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please complete a request card with your name, address, and the item number and submit it to the board president or the superintendent. You will be called to address the board and may speak up to 3 minutes. Please note, the public is welcome to provide comment to the board. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes unless extended or limited by vote of the board. A maximum of 20 minutes, unless extended by the board, is allocated for each subject discussed. The Brown Act open meeting regulations under which the board must operate do not allow board members to comment on non-agenda items or information you may bring up that are not on the agenda. Additionally, no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to staff following comment. Okay, we're on number 6, approval of the agenda. Can somebody make a motion to move item 12J to follow the 2 bond resolutions? Anybody? A second? Right. And it is recommended that the board approve the agenda of the March 11th, 2026 regular meeting. We're on number 7, report out on closed session topics. The board took no action. And we also had conference with labor negotiators, government code section 54957.6, agency designated representative Carissa J. Bowman, interim superintendent, employee organization, California. California School Employee Association, and LSEA. There was no action was taken. Okay. And now we're on number 8, approval of the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is not debatable and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. If any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests, any item shall be removed from this section and placed in the regular order of business following approval of the consent agenda. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion?
No, it's 18. Oh. Wait, yeah, 8 personnel. Wait a minute, yeah.
So we have a comment for LSEA, LSMA, and CSEA.
Good evening. Our labor partners came together to write a resolution in honor of Dr. Cesar Chavez Torres. A resolution of the Laguna Salada Management Association, Laguna Salada Education Association, and California School Employees Association number 128, noting their appreciation for Dr. Cesar Chavez Torres. Whereas Dr. Chavez Torres worked collaboratively with labor organizations and represented certificated, classified, and management units to strengthen working conditions and promote student success. And
whereas during her tenure, Dr. Chavez Torres demonstrated a strong commitment to supporting certificated educators, classified professionals, and all staff who serve the district's students each day. And
whereas Dr. Chavez Torres possesses a truly contagious laugh and a vibrant spirit that lights up the room, providing much needed sense of warmth and perspective that lightens any atmosphere during even the most challenging times. And
Whereas Dr. Chavez Torres elevated the academic and social emotional growth of multilingual learners, honoring the home language not as a barrier, but as a profound superpower and a foundational asset that enriches our entire educational community. And
whereas Dr. Chavez Torres worked at negotiations to find creative solutions to attract and retain teachers in PSD, including the refinement of our mentor teacher program, supporting new and transitioning teachers, providing incentives and solutions to earn our special education credentials, and honoring the longevity of employees in the district.
Whereas Dr. Chavez Torres acknowledged the health and well-being of our staff, ensuring she brought the human-to-human resources, offering resources and options to our members at various stages of their careers.
Whereas Dr. Chavez Torres consistently demonstrated calm and steady leadership in high-pressure situations, often making the chaos look like a well-rehearsed orchestra. And whereas Dr. Chavez Torres maintained a warm and reassuring smile even during the most challenging moments, providing comfort and hope to those around her, and occasionally brightening meetings that needed more coffee than usual. And
whereas the members of LSMA, LSEA, and CSEA wish to recognize and thank Dr. Chavez Torres
for their professionalism, responsiveness, and dedication to the employees and students of Pacifica School District. And
whereas Dr. Chavez Torres will be continuing their service to public education in a new role with Burlingame School District.
Now, therefore, be resolved that the labor organizations of the Pacifica School District express their sincere appreciation to Dr. Chavez Torres for their years of service, leadership, and collaboration. And
be it further resolved that we extend our best wishes to Dr. Carla Chavez Torres as she begins the next chapter and her career. Oh. And continues her commitment to public education.
Hey, I still think we need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second? Okay, we're on 9, superintendent and board special recognitions. Speaker, Robert Pang Maganaris. Amber Porter will be recognized for her service to and support of the Cabrillo Elementary School community.
Hello, my name is Robin Pang Maganaris, and I have the honor of being the principal at Cabrillo. Dr. Torres, is Amber online right now? Great. Can we get her on the screen? Is she there? Amber, are you there? Okay, great. So great schools have several things in common. The first thing they have in common is they have talented and dedicated staff. We have that at Cabrillo. Wave your hand, staff. There they are. Great schools also have a fantastic and vibrant PTO. We also have that at Cabrillo. Tonight, we are honoring Amber Porter because she has been instrumental in helping to build a vibrant and dynamic PTO at Cabrillo. She served as a classroom volunteer for many years, and then she went on to be behind the scenes as treasurer of the PTO. Then she stepped up to be president of our PTO. She did all of this during very tenuous times in our nation's history, during COVID, and then also during a tenuous time in this district when we took on the co-location of schools. So to Amber, Amber,
hello.
Hi. We just want to honor you and thank you for all that you have done at Cabrillo. We are mighty because of what you have contributed to us day in, day out for many years over. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's such a surprise. Serving as volunteer and on the PTO has been one of the greatest honors of my life. Like you said, being part of the PTO through the pandemic and the budget crisis, which apparently is still ongoing, has been such an honor. And I want to personally thank the staff, the teachers, the administrators of Cabrillo and the whole school district, because being part of the PTO really gave me such insight into what you do with such limited resources, and you help raise our children. And we are just here to help you make these schools a better place for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you, Amber. We're on number 10, communications, LSEA.
Good evening. At the board meeting on February 25th, I mentioned that LSEA had worked with CTA to prepare a letter for unfair labor practice. At our session on March 4th, we did not give the letter to you. Instead, you issued a letter to us. The district team shared with us the letter from the county to Board President Brocchini regarding the state of our district. This letter was prompted by their concern for fiscal stabilization in Pacifica after the district leaders failed to respond to their requests and failure to meet deadlines for more information after the first interim. Among these concerns include the need for a fiscal stabilization plan due to leadership turnover, position control concerns, and special education costs. This letter now results in an independent expert body, Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team, FCMAT, to come to Pacifica to examine all pertinent financial records. They make an independent assessment and judgment as objectively as they can of the real fiscal status of our district. Items your labor partners have identified as problems will finally be confirmed and rectified. Our unfair labor practice letter was not issued to you because we did get the opportunity to discuss other articles in the contract and expect to reach agreement on hours, safety, and class size at our session next week. That said, we know compensation is of the utmost importance to our members, and we expect FCMAT and county intervention will get the administrative staffing of the district office aligned to free up funds and use the funding from Measure EE parcel tax to improve compensation. Over the weekend, I sent the trustees and cabinet LSEA's concerns about agenda item 12J, intention to terminate certificated employees due to a reduction of particular kinds of services. As these are specific people and items with varying nuances, I won't speak to the specifics in this forum, but hope you have read my email and received clarification. I hope that clarification was accurate and not one-sided. I guess my email was clear as it was another one ignored by all trustees but Trustee Hart. A simple reply to acknowledge you read is all I request. Tonight, you will be hearing from members of the community sharing their concerns regarding the proposed cuts and impacts on students. Yesterday, bargaining chair Rachel Merlot and I met with members of cabinet and voiced our points about this item, advocated appropriately, and questioned decisions. We still think the agenda item is messed up in the details and expect the intentions of the cabinet remain as stated. We shared at our meeting yesterday that while enrollment has and continues to trend downwards over the years, there has been an increase of administrators in the district office that do not offer direct services to students. In the consent agenda tonight, you approved new job descriptions for the district office cabinet roles. These jobs have also been posted on EdJoin. It is unfortunate that there is not a proposed change to the structure and what the district office may look like in the next school year. This, on the same agenda as the agenda item tonight, if approved in full, will cause every single school site to have fundamental changes again. It's just not right. Taking away direct support to students while continuing to support district office roles does not sound like fiscal stabilization or position control. The next board meeting is not scheduled until April 29th. 7 weeks away. I emailed Trustee Brocchini and Superintendent Bowman last night questioning this. It sure seems a lot of work needs to get done, and a 7-week break is not in the best interest of students or staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. CSEA?
Good evening, everyone. Our negotiations was before LSEA, so we have not received that letter. And our next negotiation is not until March 25th, 27th. So what we're going to start just to thank our membership. We want to thank our membership for showing up and making our voices heard. We know the district inside and out, and it's our CSEA members and our LSEA members that are the most important voices in the room. I want to recognize the decision the board made to preserve the administrative secretary position at the district office. It was the right decision, and the district will be better off for it. But we cannot take our eye off the ball. Pacifica classified wages remain at the bottom of the barrel. We must do better. The voters of Pacifica expect better. We passed the parcel tax expecting wages to improve and for our district to start closing the gap with our neighboring districts. But here we are, 253 days after our contract has expired, and the district still has not made a counteroffer on salary. Each day that passes is another day our members continue to financially struggle to put food on the table, pay rent, pay their phone bill. I wish I could challenge each of you to live on the wages that our members live on. I think you would find it impossible. Please put yourself in our members' shoes when you discuss salary with the district's bargaining team. It wouldn't be enough for you, then it's not enough for us. The Above and Beyond Awards. I get to say it all tonight since Tiffany said the last two. The Above and Beyond Awards that we're recognizing is our admin, hybrid, and admin secretaries. Our admin, hybrid, administrative secretary and administrative secretaries are essential classified employees who work primarily at the district office. These employees support the business facilities, maintenance operations, educational support services, human resources, special education, and student services departments, along with all school sites. They perform high-level clerical and operational tasks, including enrollment, state reporting, budget monitoring, specialized clerical support, managing confidential student records, support certified foster youth and students experiencing housing instability, track strict state federal compliance timelines. Additional duties include employee onboarding, contract preparation, maintaining district records, front office operations, LPAC testing, provide translation services, and often serve as interpreters, coordinating professional development days, supporting bond oversight, assist with the processing and coordination of work orders and facilities used across the district. They support the district cabinet, interface with stakeholders, including parents and board members, and sometimes serve students directly. These employees work full-time year-round to support our district, and we appreciate their hard work and dedication. CSA Chapter 11028 is proud of all our Above and Beyond recipients. Our classified employees are dedicated, hardworking, who care about our students, our schools, our district, and our community. CSEA will continue to shine a spotlight on Pacifica School District's wonderful classified employees. We believe that the hard work, the dedication, and the contribution of our valued classified employees should be celebrated and rewarded. Union proud, union strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Shar and Tiffany. People wishing to address. Maria Jackson, open comment.
Good evening. My name is Maria Jackson. I'm an IBL PTO president and a parent who has been in this community for many years. My oldest is now 26 and he is about to become a San Francisco he's finishing the fire academy, firefighter. In any event, I stood here last month and I urged the board to put kids first, to think about the decisions that you're making and figure out a way to make hard decisions with some integrity. The only way I know how to do that is to think about students first. When I come to these meetings and I hear that the positions at the district office continue to increase, while we continue to do Lord knows what in the schools, I sat here and listened to a whole LCAP presentation that talked about the importance of safety, that talked about the importance of ensuring that Black and brown kids aren't the only ones getting suspended. Yet you are considering apologies, a little emotional. Some of the proposals that you are considering are going to throw the LCAP out the window. I don't want to sit here and listen to anybody tell me the LCAP is important, because what you're trying to do by removing one of the APs at IBL, turning them into a counselor, leaving us with one AP, it is ludicrous. That is not going to increase safety. The way that you're going to have to deal with discipline if you have one AP and you move the one AP that's been at that school for years and has built relationships with communities, with the kids, with the parents, with the troubled kids, you're only leaving us one option. You're going to have to suspend all those children because nobody's going to have the time to sit there and build those relationships. Not only that, what does it say? What does it say about how we treat our APs that have given everything to that school? What does that say when we say, you know what? Just kidding. You're now going to be a counselor. All the years you've given us as an AP, too bad, too sad. Now you're going to make what a counselor makes. Now you're going to go and do something else. And we're going to forget that you ever spent years of your life giving to these kids. I urge you to go back up to the drawing board and really figure out what it is you want to stand for.
Thank you, Maria. And we have a non-agenda item, Stan Martin, e-bikes.
Hello, Stan Martin, longtime listener, first time caller. I sent y'all an email and I appreciate Board Member Villalobos bringing this up last month about e-bikes. I have a little quote from Winston Churchill. Perfection is the enemy of progress. It would be really helpful if we had something to point to say that Electric motorcycles and scooters are not allowed on our campuses. The kids riding those to school are putting themselves in great danger. And if we could say you can't bring it here, it can't be on campus, it would be really helpful to help ensure the safety of those children. We saw the headlines in Half Moon Bay. We really don't want kids in accidents on their way to and from school. So some sort of policy, even if it's quick and dirty, so that we can just say, no, you can't have that here on campus, would be really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. Okay, we're on to board and superintendent correspondence and communications. Does anybody want to start?
I'll start because I don't have much because I've been sick. I attended the special board meeting last week and I do my regular meetings with the Dr. Bowman, and that's all for me.
Okay. The main thing since last week was the music festival, the All City concert that involved our middle school bands and the Terra Nova High School band. And they had it at Terra Nova with, they combine it now with an all-day art festival and food trucks and all that. And it was really successful and a really fun concert, standing room only. And then other than that, have been workforce housing meetings. And the demolition should be finishing up this week.
I was invited to 2 read alouds in the last few weeks that were really nice to attend. One organized by Sunset Ridge PTO on Read Across America Day. They had 2 authors to do school assemblies, and Pacifica school volunteers also asked me to attend a read aloud with Women's History Month as the theme. I appreciate being invited to those. I went to San Mateo County Office of Ed's quarterly meeting earlier this month where we talked about literacy. I attended the budget collaborative meeting here at the district office a few weeks ago, and I've done my one-on-ones with Carissa. I've received a lot of emails. And I just want to acknowledge that this is definitely a difficult time in our district. And I mean, this isn't really, it's a lot. It's a lot. None of us are up here on the school board to intentionally put anybody down or out of work. And we're all doing the best we can with what we got. So.
I attended the special meeting and my one-on-ones, and if I didn't answer your email, I received a lot of emails last week. And so I did manage to answer a few of them. So Megan, I'm sorry. So thank you for sending those emails, because that's how we're aware of the things that are going on in the district.
So as you heard, I had my check-ins at Cabinet and LOCA and CSCA, met with the Board of Trustees. Also, we have met with the San Mateo County Budget Office for our stability plan. And then we also met with San Mateo regarding the organization and the job descriptions that's been mentioned. So just to clarify, the job descriptions are only to be updated. Some were from 2000, some were from 2002. So those positions are for update for current positions. There's no additional positions. And there will be a presentation on this next week. And there is no addition to cabinet that has been proposed or discussed. And there is no second person for business. It is CBO and a director of finance. That is the same person. They have different qualifications. CBOs are very, very difficult to find and locate. And so we've tried different ways to get somebody to help. But I wanted to clarify that that also has been discussed and hopefully answer some of the questions. And you will be seeing a presentation on the reorganization and setups for coming next year. And that will be in the next April meeting. Thank you. There's
Okay, we have two more speakers. Amy Burnett on 10C.
Hello, my name is Amy Burnett. I'm here tonight speaking as both a current PSD parent and an educator who has been actively teaching and volunteering in schools for the past 3 decades. I wanted to make it clear that the parent survey that was sent out on March 5th, 2026 via Parent Square, which is embedded in a message from the superintendent about fiscal stabilization efforts, is ludicrous and insulting. It is truly unconscionable for a board who works for a community representing schools and children to ask parents to choose from a list of what every child not only deserves but needs. Indeed, you, as the representatives, should be invested in the reality that this is how you educate your children and thereby a society. Children need and deserve safety. Children need and deserve mental health support. Children need and deserve movement. Children need and deserve robust academic content. Children need and deserve teachers who are supported, valued, trained, and fairly compensated. Children need and deserve art and music to help their brains develop. These are basic needs and rights they all deserve. And to ask parents to choose 3 is reckless and insulting and truly shows a lack of the basic understanding of the fundamentals of education. It's unclear to me if you are actively in these schools you represent. I am actually in a school and I see the reality that your decisions have created and understand the stakes at hand. I feel and I experience the reality that my own children come home with now, where they're in a school that's already overtaxed with not enough support. We were here last year saying the same things. It's not just an Ocean Shore thing. Everybody, it's everybody. You see it now. You see it now. I hope you hear us now. And I know next year it's going to be even harder because of all these ideas you're posing as fiscal solutions. I wonder if you realize that what you're doing in essence is destabilizing the foundation while actively still constructing a penthouse and a rooftop deck. These schools, these children, they are the foundation. If you cut more programs and support, you'll be creating a catastrophic problem and you'll not be able to fix it for a very long time, if ever. The opposite conversation should be had here. Just as we teach our children, you must have a solid foundation to create a masterpiece. These children, this community deserve so much better than this. It's
Okay, I'm sorry, your time is up now. Thank you. Nicole Ortega.
Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Bowman, Cabinet, and community. My name is Nicole Ortega, and I'm the second vice president of CSEA Chapter 128 and a longtime district employee. Tomorrow will mark 254 days without a contract for classified staff in this school district. 254 days of uncertainty, 254 days of continuing to show up for our students, our colleagues, our schools, and our community, while still waiting for a fair agreement. I ask you, who will show up for us? Classified staff are the backbone of our campuses and our district. We greet families at the front offices. We enroll students, clean campuses, prepare and serve breakfast and lunch to students, keep libraries open and welcoming. We support students who are struggling, organize programs, maintain facilities, process paperwork, file state reports, keep our network systems up and running, and ensure that daily operations in this district run smoothly. Our work is often behind the scenes, but it is absolutely essential to student success. Why does this matter? This matters because right now we are facing cuts that would directly affect student-facing services. These are the very services that help keep our students feeling supported and safe and connected to their schools and their community. When those positions are reduced or eliminated, students feel it immediately. Before we make decisions that impact students directly, we need to pause and we need to take a deeper look. We should be asking important questions like, how are resources being allocated across this district? How much is being spent at top levels of administration? How much is going to confidential positions? How much is going to outside consultants, contracted services? Are we fully examining those areas before considering cuts that affect the people who work with students every single day and are very students in this district? This is not about blame. This is absolutely about priorities. If our priority across this district and in our community are our students, and I believe it is, and if it's not, it definitely should be, then we must protect the services that support these precious students every day and support them directly. We must also recognize and respect classified professionals who provide essential services to our students. For 254 days, classified staff have continued to do their jobs with dedication, care, and the utmost integrity. We are not asking for anything unreasonable. We are asking for fairness, transparency, and a contract that reflects the value of the work that we do. So today I ask you, take a step back. Please look carefully at the full financial picture. Commit to making decisions that put students first and the people who support them second. Please protect student-facing services, and let's work together to reach a fair contract and fair compensation. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, we're moving on to 11 information items. Ortega Elementary School PTO financial presentation. Speaker, Andriana, I can't say your last name. Antonu. Ortega PTO President and Jenny Gadwa, Ortega PTO Treasurer. Ortega Elementary Schools PTO will give their annual financial presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you everyone for having us. My name is Adriana Antonio. I am the PTO president of Ortega. This is Jenny Godwell. She is our treasurer. I want to thank also the other PTOs that went before me because we watched their videos and we saw their presentation. And I do feel like we benefited from that. And my PTO board who had to listen to this at our meeting. This is an overview of the topics that we're going to present on tonight based on what the board asked us to present. Our PTO mission and role. What I have on the screen is actually the mission and role of our school. And what our PTO is our PTO Elementary creates an active, cohesive community of families, faculty, and staff at Ortega Elementary School. This organization works to achieve the visions and goals developed by the elementary school through the support of the enrichment and recognition programs. So on the screen, which is quite small, you will see what the school's mission and role is, and our mission and role is to support the school in any ways we can. And what I like to say is, as a PTO, our main goal is, in addition to supporting our teachers, and fundraising to provide the extra enrichment programs is to just build a community. All of our activities on campus, whether they're free, like our Global Village, our Science Night, our Literacy Night, Ice Cream Social, all of the things we do on campus, or our fundraisers, which help us to raise the money, it's all based on providing a community for our students and family. Okay, so some of the financial information. I have last year and then this year to date as of January 31st. So our beginning balance of last year in our Bank of America checking account was $217,000. We brought in $114,000 from fundraising last year. We spent $127,000 last year, and then we ended the fiscal year with $194,000. And I'll explain why, a little bit about why our income was less than our expenditures at a later slide. So at the beginning of this year, we had the $194,000. So far, our fundraising totals is about $66,000. We've spent $93,000. And our current balance as of March 1st was $178,000. And I'm going to get into more detail in the next few slides. So our fundraising summary. Some of these fundraisers we've already had, and some of them are coming up. Our Color Walk and Roll made almost $36,000. That was a fall event, along with our Harvest Fest. We made $8,000 on that event. Our PTO direct donations is $18,000 as of, I think it's January 31st. We are currently in the middle of our readathon. And we expect to make about $35,000. Last year, we brought in about $36,000 with that fundraiser. And then we have what has historically been our biggest fundraiser is in May, and that is our open house raffles, our silent auction, and it's a big three. So there's many different raffles that are involved with that. And then some of our other fundraisers, which are some of the smaller pieces of that pie, our fifth graders do fundraising for their own events. And then we have C's Candies, Original Works, various small different fundraisers that are fun for the families. And that brings in another, I think, $4,000. So what do we spend our money on? Our expenditures and investments. For our student enrichment, we spend $34,000 on our art program. That includes our instructor and supplies. We have our La Garza positive behavior interventional specialists that assist our teachers. That's $19,000. Our garden science teacher and supplies for our garden is $35,000. Our library, we give usually $5,000 or more, and that depends on what the book fair, how well the book fair does in a given a given year. In Otter News is our newest enrichment program that was started by some of our teachers. It is a newscast that is run by our students. So we're just starting to support that. And if anybody would like to see it, we don't broadcast it because of privacy issues, but there is an advertisement for our Spiritwear on ortegapto.org. If you go to Spiritwear, you can see adorable commercial that stars Jenny's son and Christina Stewart's son. It's beloved by our kids, this newscast. And then we also, we fund the Junior Olympics. For teacher support, we have our teacher stipends that we budget $10,000 for. It's $400 per teacher, but they often come to us asking for more. So our budget's a little bit more than the number of teachers we have. Teacher appreciation includes Teacher Appreciation Week, and then throughout the year, different events that we have for them. That's $3,600. And then educational materials, which includes scholastic news for the entire school, PE supplies, fun things for the kindergartners and TKers. That's $7,000. And then for our community, in the summer of 2024, we had to re-slurry, which is to recover the blacktop on the upper grade, and repaint. That was an expenditure of $17,850. We have lots of community events that we don't ask anything from our community for. We just put on events just to bring everyone together. That's $6,000. Campus beautification, which includes, we have events where we clean up the campus, we buy umbrellas, we have benches, rocks that we paint. That's $2,500. And then our support of CPEC, PEF, and the Pacifica School Volunteers comes out to about $1,250. So our special project, our one-time purchase, the biggest one we've had in the past 2 years is the re-slurry of the blacktop. And that's also why you'll see that in that year, we had a kind of a budget shortfall. We didn't make as much as we spent, but this was kind of a big expenditure that we thought for the safety of the kids. because when they put the turf on, which we have a beautiful turf field now, but then there wasn't at the time, there wasn't a plan to improve the blacktop that was severely damaged from the large trucks and equipment. So the PTO came together and decided to put this seal on it. It lasts 2 to 3 years, I think, maybe a little longer. And we're hoping the district, I think it's planned for this summer for them to refinish that blacktop again, which it's starting to need it again. So we're pretty happy about that. Okay, a comparison of our budget. So these numbers are from January 31st. And what you'll see is that our expenses, although we're under budget, we haven't spent as much as we budget on our expenses at almost every category except for PTO administration expenses. Our income is also lower than our expenses for now. And part of that is because we pay our vendors like our art through the district, our La Garza, and our garden science all in one lump sum in December. So that's $80,000 that's coming out. And our fundraisers don't catch up until right now. We're currently in readathon. And then in May, we have the bigger fundraisers as well. So it looks like right now we're $31,000 below. We're spending $31,000 below what we've made. But our estimation of our income versus our expenditures will more than make up for that. And our year-end balance. So as of February 28th, we had $170,000 in the account. We always, as a board, we have a reserve of $30,000. We also have a principals fund that we don't touch, a library fund, and the fifth grade popsicle. So those are basically dedicated for certain items. And looking ahead. So as I mentioned, this year we have still a lot going on. Our readathon right now, we're halfway through. We brought in $16,000. And coming up on March 20th, we have our fifth grade bingo night. We have a variety show, which is not a fundraiser. It's just for fun. Science night, just for fun. We have our online silent auction. We're moving it from the open house night online, and we're corresponding that with a Paella adult social. So we'll open at the adult social and then it'll close at our open house, the online aspect of it. And then the raffle part of it, which is a big money maker and which the kids absolutely adore, is going to happen at our open house. And then looking ahead at what we would like to spend as a PTO, we currently have a survey out to our teachers to see which enrichment programs they think most benefit our teachers, to see if we want to expand any of them or bring something else on campus. We're also looking at the idea of maybe supplementing school buses for our field trips. Right now, field trips are self-funded by the classes, and the PTO steps in for any scholarships. So we do have a line item. I think we have $2,000 dedicated to that, but we don't fund school buses entirely. We have had teachers coming to us asking for books for their classrooms because they don't get the funding to buy a class set of books. So we're looking into buying books for our teachers. And then the basketball hoops on our campus also are looking a little sad. And so we've been asked if maybe we would like to replace the basketball hoops. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to put a note out there that I love the basket auction. I don't think it's still called the basket auction.
Yeah.
But definitely the auctions and the raffles, really fun.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? No. Thank you for everything and everything that you do for the kids and the teachers.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have a speaker we're moving on to 11B, Measure O and Measure G Bond Project Update. And that's going to be presented by CC Mang, Project Manager. Do you want me to do this first?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, we're going to do the comments first. Rachel Merlot.
Hi there, Rachel Merlot. I'm speaking as a teacher at IBL and parent, and I would just really like you to please truly consider when you are looking at the bond and the remaining finances that the Ingrid B. Lacey Field is of utmost importance. It is the classroom for the entire school the entire school for their physical education, which is a state requirement. And currently it is in rough shape, and it has been in rough shape for a long time. We have requested that our money that we get to look at for the bond for years and years go to the field, and we have been told over and over no, because the field would only last 20 to 25 years. That's a long time for a field to last. Please. It is also a way that money would come in for the district. Yesterday we had our required evacuation drill. I think three, probably more adults tripped and fell and injured themselves trying to make sure that we can evacuate safely because the field is in such bad shape. We have asked people to come and look. We have constantly, every single year, that we've even said that's the only thing we want. Please don't do any other project at our school except that project. And we continue to be told no for years. Please, whatever you can do. It will bring money in also to the school district because you can rent it out. It's massive, gigantic, and huge. And it serves every single student on the campus every single day. Every single day it will be used. So please, 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 please give us a new field.
Okay, so now we have IBL Principal Kathy Alderson is going to show a video from the 7th grade leadership class. Oh, Kate Sosnowski, thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Sosnowski. I teach leadership and language arts and social studies. My leadership children feel really passionate about this, as do all of our children at school, and they have made a video. I think it's really important that everyone in this room remember why we're here. It's for the kids. So please listen to their pleas. 3.
Hi, my name is DR and I'm a 7th grader at IBL, and I'm here to show you why we need a better field at IBL. The school curriculum involves using our field, but our field prevents us from learning because we have a liability of getting injured.
We are not equipped with the right tools to learn the curriculum that the PE teachers are meant to teach. 20 out of 26 kids in our leadership class alone has sprained their ankle at least one time in their time at IBL. And one of my friends here at IBL has broken their ankle.
Our field has many different hazards like uneven ground and holes everywhere you step, and we are the only school without a proper field despite being the biggest middle school in Pacifica.
Because of the unmaintained field, the grass is infested with ticks and other bugs, making students getting bit and crawled on.
During a safety drill, 3 teachers fell, and that is a serious hazard.
If we clean up and improve our field, we can rent it out to people, and this money can help us benefit our school.
Yes, if we fix the field, people could rent it out. If we rent it out, we could get money from that. Then we can do more things like extracurricular activities. It would also be wonderful for the school and community.
In conclusion, our field is very unsafe, and we need money to fix it.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, 7th grade leadership class at IBL. Okay, now we're moving on to Measure O, Measure G Bond Project Update. Cece Mang, Project Manager. Ms. Mang will present information on completed, current, and future bond projects.
Thank you, Board. So our last update is a little bit more than a year ago, so it's quite a bit of project to show, but I'll go quick. So early last year, we wrapped up the Ortega field and it received DSC certification. And we also installed a lock set replacement for the district office. That's before we knew, we're going to move to this location. And we also installed the same intercom system as all the other schools for the district office for safety. And this is completed D-wing addition at Ocean Shore School. Some interior pictures. We also completed the entire new student chairs and desks for 1st and 8th grade for the school in last spring break. We also installed a new pedestrian gate along Loretta Way and a new passageway. And for safety, we also installed a short fence between the upper parking lot and the pedestrian walkway for at the Ortega School. And we enlarged the Sunset Ridge Ocean Shore School parking lot for the staff. New boardroom furniture, and we successfully replaced the dilapidated portable classroom at IBL, and it has been occupied since January this year. And pending projects, so Sunset Ridge, last summer, the contractor completed the footing work for the school canopy replacement. However, the prefabricated canopy failed testing. So the manufacturer right now is conducting re-engineering work and resubmittal to ESA for approval. And if everything goes well, the installation is scheduled for summer of this year. And construction we also did started last summer is Cabrillo School outdoor improvement. Construction currently is intermission, and the contractor will return to install 2 gates during spring break. And the rest of the construction will resume this summer, and the entire project will be completed by the end of this summer. And this is just some before and after photos. Before photo on the right, the after is rendering, the intended rendering during the design, and the actual constructed picture. And the same, this is courtyard between B-wing and C-wing. The previous ones between A-wing and B-wing, and completed. And the school really enhanced the learning environment, outdoor learning environment for the school, for the students. And this is the front yard in front of the A-wing, and enlarged playground, play structure, and some outdoor lunch study area. Right now, this is a current project. The Lindamar Educational Center roof replacement. The roof was last replaced in 1992, so it's long due for replacement. So construction is currently ongoing, and we scheduled completion is early April. And also project under progress is the new monument sign at Sunset Ridge and Ocean Shore School. It includes a new school fixed sign on the upper portion and the electronic marquee sign at the lower portion. So that's a preliminary rendering. We're currently working on the design on exactly what the permanent sign will look like. And that's the marquee sign. There's also we're obtaining proposals for the permanent sign on the concrete, which is on the lower left-hand side in that picture. So we're obtaining proposal right now. And after we obtain proposal, we're going to work on the design pretty much to match the monument sign, the permanent sign look. And this is a district office signage. Right now, the contract has been awarded, and we're working with a contractor on the design of the sign. Project currently under progress is the previous district office location facility evaluation. And because we need to open up the exterior walls to examine inside. We needed to test the exterior for asbestos. So that work has just been completed last week, and we're waiting for results. And once results are in, we're proceeding with the evaluation work. And also in progress are the play structure replacement at 3 of our sites: Sunset Ridge, Ocean Shore, Bellemar, and Ortega. This is just some pictures. This is at Ortega. It has a 2 to 5-year-old, and propose an all-inclusive ADA compliant play structure for one of the play structure at Ortega. And another one is for 5 to 12-year-old for Ortega. So there's 2 at the site. And this is a rendering for Sunset Ridge new play structure, 5 to 12 years old. And this is Valimar, 5 to 12 years old. Project schedule right now, we completed the selection of the play structure. The site reviewed it, leadership team at district reviewed it. And we have sent that design, the play structure selection to the architect. The architect right now is working on the drawings, and they will be submitting to the Division of State Architect by the end of this month. And we plan the anticipated DSA approval is around end of April. And upon the approval, and we will be placing an order on the play structure. And the play structure has about 13 to 15 weeks lead time. So we anticipate construction starting mid-August and finish around 2 to 3 months. And also currently, project under progress is the exterior painting of all sites currently is under bidding: Sunset Ridge, IBL, Valimar, Cabrillo, and Ortega. And during the job work, there are also many rusted air vents and screens that needs replacement at multiple of the sites. So we're going to have those replaced. And IBL has rusty downspouts; those will be replaced. And we have basically the entire district have 3 standard colors: an off-white, light gray as a base color, and a kind of a deep, sophisticated blue color as accent color. And also for all the metals, architectural metals like structural steel, gutters, has another gray color. So this is some preliminary rendering of what the painting project is going to look like. This is Sunset Ridge, Sunset Ridge Ocean Shore, and this is IBL, Valimar, Cabrillo. Cabrillo has mostly brick, so it's basically blue doors and field color and brick, and architectural metals will be gray. And Ortega is very similar to Cabrillo. And also, we include in the design the color for the 411 Oceana as well. So another project under progress, and it's currently under bidding, is the playground asphalt replacement Ortega and the Valimar schools. So it explains itself. And construction is scheduled for this summer. And we're also currently reviewing kindergarten desks as well with all the sites. So this is a list of projects that's going under construction during this summer. Report of expenditure for Measure O. So there's original measure is 55 million, and there's some interest payment over the years. We added around $1.8 million kind of interest payment. And then we received state funding, state matching fund, 2.6 million recently. So when all projects completed, and we also added some additional projects that's not part of the original master plan. For example, the play structure replacement at the 3 sites, Ortega upper grade yard asphalt replacement, Valimar D-wing yard replacement, and also the Valimar science art classroom floor replacement. So those adds up to approximately 1.7 million. But because of the state funding help, which is 2.6 million, so when all is done, we still have about $1.9 million left for Measure O that can help other needs. Yeah, so I'll get to the field. Yeah. So Measure G update. So we implemented a process to doing the master plan for Measure G, and we had collaborative work sessions with all stakeholders. That's the process. It includes a site survey, and collaborative work session number 1 and collaborative work session number 2. And our goal is for board approval of the final Measure G project list. That's the goal at the end of the process. So we started the survey part with all the school sites in November 2024, and we collected all the boards, and we so each of the staff was provided, 10 voting dots and cast vote on the project, as well as tell us, okay, what additional projects, you want. So, and we put together the survey based on our understanding of the facility needs. And then we collected, so this is the voting dots, every site gave us the result. And we collected, analyzed the dot, and we put together an initial preliminary project list and a priority. And then we started with that information. We started the collaborative work session number 1. Step 1 is we met with the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? First they are the sites, every of our sites, the staff, and we discussed the project scope and priority in the project list that we collected. And then we also need to know the general maintenance and upkeep of the buildings, for instance, roof, building systems, utilities. So we would talk to the M&O team, and we also talk to our roofing consultant, who has been, monitoring our roof. And we also talk to our technology department regarding infrastructure, device improvements. So talk to the IT team. And based on those feedback, we established an initial project list, and we assigned preliminary budget based on the project scope discussed. And then we took that list, we had a meeting with district leadership team, and that's under Dr. Darnice. And we also had a community meeting after that. So the outcome for all that step is an initial project scope was defined with preliminary cost and initial priorities. And after that, we were going to present to the board, but since last June, it has been postponed for various reasons. We hadn't had a chance to present any of these to the board. So this is actually the first chance presenting this work or the list to the board. So I'll keep going. So, however, we continue the collaborative work session number 2 anyways. So we took that list from the previous session. We met with the stakeholders again, talked to the sites, talked to M&O team consultant, talked to technology. So during this process, we performed check and balances of project list to gather more detailed information from the M&O team and further clarify project scope and adjusted the project list and the cost. And we produced the Measure G bond recommended final project with final priorities. But that's where we couldn't continue anymore because we didn't get any board feedback. But then if we were to continue the process, the next step would be incorporate the board comments, and we'll produce that recommended final project list with the final priorities. And we'll have the district leadership review for feedback, and we'll also have a community feedback. And then we'll make adjustment to the Measure G bound final project list and for district leadership for final review. And the outcome of all that is a final Measure G project list to be recommended to the board for approval. So that's our goal. So these are the list of meetings we had back in 2025. We met with every single site, and we had our very first community meeting in May 6th last year. And then in May through June, we had a second round of the site meetings with all the sites. But then at that time, because we didn't get, was kind of on hold at that point. So this is some of the data we presented to the sites. So the entire Measure G fund allocation. So we have a total of $70 million. And the last time we discussed it, we made a board presentation about the Measure G master plan that the board said we're going to finance $8 to $10 million. But I just want to bring this to attention later. I'm going to mention in my slides, there's $5 million district-wide roof replacement due starting 2030, and this is not part of that. And total available funding is $80 million, and the bond issuance cost usually is 2%, so $1.6 million. Workforce housing budget, $55 million. So what's remaining for our district size is $23.4 million. And usually soft costs represent 20%, architect, engineering, inspection, legal, agency, accounting, whatever, $4.6 million. And so the hard construction budget remaining is about $18.7 million. And out of that, on top of the school's needs, we did assessment of the school size maintenance needs. So those are the reserve for for daycare portables replacement. We have district-wide deferred maintenance, and we have unforeseen repair reserve, 1 million. So when all that's deducted, and we have about $6.1 million to fulfill the site's needs, and I'll go a little bit more. So daycare portable, every site, not including Ocean Shore, we have roughly 15 daycare portable to replace. The estimated project cost is $7 million. And district-wide deferred maintenance, we have all the roofs for Cabrillo. It was last replaced in 1998. Usually the roof lasts 30 years, due for replacement. And we have Ocean Shore membrane roof. So because of the different locations of the roofs have different wear and tear. So we have the district roofing consultant, they monitor the condition of the roof, and we keep a map of our roofs, and when it was last installed and when was due replaced. So it looks like the one on the right, this portion of the roof was installed last year, when was it due? So we have it all documented. So we have miscellaneous roof replacement and lighting upgrade. So this one we're working with the county. County has like a program there. They might offer incentives. So that cost may reduce. And we have some exhaust fan replacement, HVAC access improvement, and district-wide playground asphalt needs improvement. And if you notice, you drive here, the 411 Oceana parking lot is really starting to lose its shape. It's all grimy. So that total is about 4.5 million. And this is what I want to bring to the board to the attention. So we have all these roofs, because all of our district roofs, they were last replaced in the early 2000 modernization. So by 2030, it's due for replacement. And we have over almost every single site. So we have $5.3 million, I call that a liability, starting in 2030. So we need to plan for that. It's a big commitment. So this is just some picture of the process when we did the master plan, community meeting with the site, we put people voting, and we come up with the current priority list. So there are pretty much 3 tiers. Okay, tier number 1 is basic school operation. So that's what it means is those work is needed to meet school's minimum operation. For example, Sunset Ridge, you need a staff parking lot enlarge, or you have some deferred maintenance, replace some damaged countertops, sink, nurse room, there's miscellaneous things that are broken, and acoustic treatment for some of the offices because the sound quality is really bad. And there's a second tier is a school needs with priority. So these are, the school voted. But these are the needs to meet the school desired operation. And then we have tier number 3 is school's top priority, but we don't have enough funding. For example, Sunset Ridge Field, they really want their field fixed. And so those are basically the top 3. So I won't go through all the details, but every site basically have those 3 tiers. For example, IBL, their number 1 priority is really the field. So we have a list of, every school has that, and including district office. Now I'm going to talk about technology. So technology, at the time, it was suggested that the technology install these kind of I call it smart board, touchable smart board, and a voice enhancement system. And if each classroom unit cost is roughly $23,000, if we were install that for every single classroom, it would cost $3 million. And then during the master plan process, when we met with, each individual site.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
We had the site to vote for their support for the system. So for example, I just give one example, like Sunset Ridge, Ocean Shore, there's 23 staff. People who voted for the voice enhancement system is 0, and people voted for the interactive TV and whiteboard is 5. So we have about 21%, support. So the support for that interactive smart system is pretty low across the board. However, if we were to there are some teachers who want this. So the suggestion is we can pioneer some of the classrooms, maybe, one classroom, a couple classrooms, a site, and we install 15 of them. We have a total cost of $345,000 instead of $3 million. And so here's the cost summary. So tier 1 and 2 total for all the sites is 7.5 million, and we have available district funds is 6 million. So plus the state matching fund from leftover from federal, everything is pretty achievable for tier 1, tier 2. And just for information purposes, if you were to include everything, all tiers, it'll cost $50 million to have it all, including new field for every single school, 50 million. Let me see here. Yeah, so this is the this is also for information, the field reconstruction cost. So all the sites want their field fixed. So if we were to improve every single site, and the total cost is roughly 23 million. So both Sunset Ridge and IBL has strong staff support and desire to improve their track and field. So I won't talk about, because I think IBL already said it all. So that's Sunset Ridge and IBL. And now I kind of have a preliminary solution how we can solve this and how we can make IBL's dream come true. So all of our tier 1 total. So remember, the tier 1 is the things that need to be done to meet the school's basic operation, not desired operation, but basic. And those total roughly 1.2 million. And so the available district funds, we have 6 million. And so, so after we met all the school's basic needs, we have $4.8 million left. Remember, Valimar, there's a $2 million for the Valimar portable. However, Valimar has D-Wing classrooms. They have empty classrooms. So maybe you can use some of that. And we don't need to build the portables for those. And that'll save $2 million. And then the subtotal, we have $6.8 million. That's how we can give the IBL the field. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you. Questions?
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Thanks for the presentation. That was a lot of information. I'm excited about some of these changes.
I do. What's the timeline for the new priority list again? When do we, I don't know if that goes to you or you.
The timeline for the
Priority list, because we have to rethink what our priorities are.
correct. So we're still gathering the information, and so sorry, I don't have that information right here, but I'll work with CC to get the date to you and the timeline.
So I'd just like to thank CC for the IBL at the last moment, because that's what I was going to ask about. The field has been an ongoing thing since my kids went to school there as well. And this weekend we were hanging out at Ortega, and my son, who now has children, he's like, oh my God, I wish we would have had this field when I was going here, because it does something for the community. It makes you proud of your schools and whatnot. And so I do support IBL in getting their field. And I think that we would be able to rent it out. We rent out Ortega's in the back of the valley, but now we need something in the front in the beginning. So I'm excited for that. Anybody else?
There weren't any community.
I'm sorry, you can't talk during the board meeting, but you can look at the agenda and fill out a speaker card if we're still coming up on that. Is there anybody that can give her a speaker card? Thank you, Cece. Okay, so now we are moving on to 11C. And this would be the first read update to instructional board policies and administrative regulations. Speaker, Dr. Carla Chavez Torres, Interim Executive Director of Educational Support Services.
Good evening, Board Vice President Villalobos, members of the Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Dr. Bowman. Tonight, I am presenting the first read of updated instructional board policies and administrative regulations to align with state and federal laws as of February 2026. These updates, based on CSBA guidelines, address several critical areas. Student wellness. We have added religious fasting accommodations and extreme weather protocols for heat and flooding. Academic credit. A new framework ensures seamless credit transfers for foster, homeless, and military-connected youth. Special populations. Per AB 1412, we will now accept unofficial records for military-connected students with disabilities to avoid service delays. Curriculum updates include the Native American Studies model curriculum and prioritize intersession access for vulnerable groups. This item is for information and discussion tonight, and we will bring the full set forward for formal approval at a future meeting. I'm happy to answer questions the board may have regarding these specific revisions.
Questions, anybody? No questions? Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now on 12 action items. Resolution 2026-03-11-A, authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds. Speaker is Catherine Jacobson, Managing Director of RBC Capital Markets.
Hi, good evening to the Board of Trustees Administration. Thank you for having me here this evening. I'm Catherine Jacobson with RBC, the district's underwriter. Before you tonight are two resolutions approving the issuance of bonds. So I'm here to provide a really brief update to provide context to those resolutions. So what I'll start with is a high-level overview of the district's bond programs. The community is voters have approved 3 bond measures in the district's history. You'll see them lined up here. Measure D was approved back in 1997 and raised $30 million for facilities. In June of 2018, Measure O approved $55 million for facility improvements. And most recently, Measure G, back in March of 2024, approved $70 million. All of Measure D and all of Measure O funding has already been issued and is underway to be fully spent. Measure G, we've only sold $10 million back in 2024 from that measure. So $60 million remains to be issued. Before you tonight is a resolution to issue the second tranche of bonds under Measure G. Okay, the right button. On this slide here, what we've done is laid out a overview of the various bond issuances that remain outstanding today under the 3 measures. So what you'll see is there's 5 individual bonds that have principal remaining. The final maturities of each of those series range from 2030 to the year 2053. And highlighted in the second to top row, the election of 2018 series 2018 bonds. We wanted to highlight that one because you'll see in the middle column something called call date. And that signifies the first date in which you're able to refinance bonds if interest rates are favorable to lower the cost for your community. In total, you have $59 million in principal outstanding amongst the 3 measures. Also noted on the left here is the current net statutory bonding capacity. That's the state's version of a debt limit that applies to every school district in the state. And it's a mathematical formula for an elementary school district. The calculation is 1.25% of your total assessed valuation, which puts your gross capacity today at 109 million. You have 59 million in debt outstanding. So your net capacity is 59 million. That's good because that does all this does would limit you from how much you can sell today as we stand here. And if you exceeded it for whatever reason, you'd have to go through a waiver process with the state. So the two items at hand, the first is what we're calling the Series 2026 bonds. This is the second tranche to be sold under Measure G. You have a not to exceed amount of $30 million and some good faith estimates provided in the resolution as to the current estimated costs of the borrowing. So at today's interest rates, you're looking at about a 4.75% borrowing cost. Net project funds. So this is money for facilities after the cost of issuance at $29,650,000. And the repayment cost of $65 million, which is just over 2 to 1. So $2 repaid, about $1 of interest for $1 of principal. The table on this chart is important because it shows the projected tax rates. These bonds are repaid back by your property tax owners every year on their tax bill. And when you went out for Measure G, you committed to voters that you would try to keep their property tax rate under $30 per 100,000 of assessed valuation. And so that orange line, horizontal line, reflects $30 limit. You've already, in dark blue, have bonds outstanding. Those were the Series A bonds sold a couple years back. And what we're going to do is layer on the Series B bonds in the light blue on top of that to get close, but just below $30 to make sure you're meeting that commitment for the next 2 years, and then dropping that down, which will accommodate the issuance of the last $30 million under Measure G in 2 or 3 years from now. Also before you is a resolution approving the bond refinancing, and that's of the Series 2018 bonds that I mentioned earlier that are approaching their first call date. If interest rates can hold, we're looking at, if you sold the bonds today, about $1 million in savings for taxpayers. That's a very strong savings for just refinancing $8 million in principal. The bottom figure on the right-hand chart is what we call present value savings as a percent of the refunded par amount. So this takes all that $1 million that the community receives over time, present values it to today's dollars, and divides it by 8 million, which is the principal you're refinancing. And it shoots out, in this case, 8.19%. Municipal bond guidelines that are published by national organizations often recommend a minimum threshold of 3% to make it worthwhile for staff to go through the process. So we're well above that threshold, which gives us some cushion for interest rates to fluctuate or potentially go up a little bit by the time we're able to lock them in. And all the financing costs related to the bond refinancing are built into the bonds themselves. There's no general fund obligation. And also, legally, you cannot extend the maturity of the debt. So the savings will likely be passed on evenly every year in the form of a slightly lower tax rate for the community. And finally, our schedule, assuming the resolutions are passed tonight, the next step is to go to the County Board of Supervisors to have them approve a resolution for the new money bonds, have staff coordinate with the team to meet with the bond rating agency in the next week or two to have your credit rating reassessed by one of the national rating agencies. As soon as we have that back, we're going to get what we call the preliminary official statement, which is the municipal bond version of a prospectus in front of investors to try to garner interest to invest in Pacifica bonds and lock in interest rates in late April. That's all I had for the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anybody have any questions? It's a lot to take in. But if we have questions, can we get back to you through Carissa or Dr. Bowman? Thank you.
Catherine, just to confirm, one presentation, but we're going to vote on both resolutions 30 and then the 15.
Correct.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2026-03-11-A authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds? Second? And moving on to 12B, resolution 2026-03-11-B, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of the general obligation refunding bonds. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2026-03-11-B, authorizing the issuance and sale of the general obligation refunding bonds? Second? All right, so we are okay, we're moving on to 12C, and we have a speaker, Tara.
Quick clarification. Tristan just wanted to know when the bond oversight meeting is meeting. I think she may be on it and she wasn't informed. I also just heard Laverne say you had questions and then you voted on a motion with still having questions. That's puzzling. I am connected with many special ed advocates in East Bay. It is really astonishing to watch all the people you hired, all the people you contracted with, the traveling show, to show up over in Antioch, just like they were here. Williams, Navat, Hilvin, Glazano, Civics, Godby, McPherson, Jacobson. Makes me wonder if you knew the expensive suitcase you were taking on. I wonder how much that total was, surely in the millions. I hope you don't make that mistake again. In any case, here we are, yet another February, March, where there's tears and rage. And then you'll get a semi-better multi-year projection out to 2028, and then you'll vote on it. And then next December, we'll see a crash of loss of another million or two, and we'll be back here again unless something changes. How do we vote on stuff? Make things look good. Look like we're going to have, as you said, a 9 to 10% reserve out many years. And now we have less than barely 3%. There was things you could have predicted were going to happen that you should have known you were going to lose money on, like losing children and lawyer costs. You've added VPs and RTI staff that were not part of Dusty's slides of all the cost savings. There's predictable special ed expenses and losses of kids. It was all predictable. So now the FC mat, thick mat, whatever it's called, is now here. I hope you listen to the EdSource roundtable where Michael Fine, the CFO of FMAC, speaks. Your jaw will drop. He suggests schools should just be a teacher in a classroom. Reasonably behaved children, I think he said. The school is so much more. LCFF and LCAP dictate you are more than just a classroom and just a teacher. One more comment, special education community is feeling like there's just not enough support from the DO downwards. This is one place where the DO might do better with yet another staff, someone just dedicated as a special ed director, just doing one job, not 2 or 3 jobs. They just don't have time to invest and watch over our sites so our kids get the services and FAPE that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Okay, so we're moving on to 12C, certification of second interim report for 2025-26, and this will be with Dusty, District Financial Consultant. Just a moment.
Hi, just so you know what we're talking about. We just did public comment on the resolution for 12C, but we had mentioned earlier that we would move up 12J. And so we're going to do 12C and then 12J. So we'll still be moved up.
All right.
Go ahead, Dusty.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Bowman, Cabinet, audience. I'm here tonight to present the 25-26 second interim budget and financial report. Yay. Okay. Just to review the slides that you're going to see and the topics that we'll talk about, we'll review the annual budget cycle. It's the standard slide. We're just one more cycle through into second interim. We'll go through the certification options. I will present the general fund. I will present the additional funds, the multi-year, the factors that we have placed into those, and finish with the recommendation for the second interim certification. So this is the budget cycle. We start, as you know, back in May and June with doing an adopted budget. It is the estimates with the known data and criteria back in May and June. Then we have our first official cycle of changes, which is the first interim that we present in December. At that time, we know what our ending fund balances are from the year before, unaudited actuals. Now we're at second interim. We're a little bit further along in the school year. We have a P1 attendance report, which happened at the end of December. We have our enrollment for the year, which happened in October. We now know additional needs that the district has, additional costs that it's had, savings that we've had. And so we have the ability now to do new projections in addition to the fact that the governor presented his January governor's budget. So just a little bit further along. And then we'll be looking at May for May revise and then start the cycle for the 26-27 school year. So the objective is to present our projected budget from the first day of school or July 1 for the whole school year, all the way through June 30th, what those revenues will be, what those costs will be. The second interim gives you actuals or those actual revenues, the actual spending that has occurred through July 1 through the end of January. And then part of the interim report is always the current year and then our projection for the two subsequent years. So in this case, 26-27, 27-28. And then not only, we have other funds than general fund. So in addition to general fund, I'll be presenting the ending fund balances for our other funds. So at each interim report cycle, a district self-certifies either positive, saying that it will meet its financial obligations, have a positive cash balance in this year, and be able to meet its financial obligations for the next 2 years. They also have the option of doing a qualified certification, which means we may or may not, unknown based on certain criteria and data at the time, or a negative that says, we're pretty sure we're in really big trouble and we're going to be unable to meet those financial obligations. So one of the biggest factors and new information that we have is at the January governor's budget, the cost of living increase was lowered. So I've given you where we were at adopted budget. 2.3 is the same for this year, but the biggest change is our 26-27 and our 27-28. So you can see we went down over 0.5% for next year. So the revenues that we're projecting now have a lower cost of living increase based on them. So we're going from 3% to 2.41. And then again, because we do those multi-year projections, 3.4 down to 3.06. So all of those have an impact to the revenues based on what we presented at first interim. I wanted to go over enrollment and student attendance. So there's actually 3 slides. You don't have to pay a lot of attention to because I have a different slide at the third one. So I wanted to remind you where we were at first interim. We projected enrollment at 2532. ADA at 2380, and then going down just a little, about 30 next year, and then about another 50, 80 at that point in time. We have a little brighter picture. We're one lower in enrollment based on final certification for October date for enrollment, but our actual P1, which is the first period attendance, first day of school through the end of December, is actually higher than what we projected. And so we're a little bit higher on that. Those, because we're higher this year, give us better numbers for next year, which are better numbers for the following year. So I did a different slide just to kind of give you an idea of where we're looking. So at second interim, based on where we're at right now, the second interim for next year projection is 20 higher, 49 higher, 52 higher based on those years. So we have a better picture coming in, have an additional TK class we're planning on for next year. So it is, we're coming back around on that. Our UPP percent, which stands for unduplicated pupil count, has increased just a little bit. And so there is a 3-year rolling average in that technical accounting LCFF calculator that we do. So that gives us a little bit more data and a little bit more revenue ultimately for what those are. So a little bit more dollars. You will see though that it doesn't impact us until 28, 29 because those increases, because they're still lower than the year before, takes 1 year to catch up. And so all of this is the lower COLA, but a better picture, but we really don't reap the benefits of those until we get all the way out to 28, 29 because of that prior year guarantee. So I've put the differences together just to kind of give you an idea so you don't have to worry about those other 2 slides, but the data from the revenue standpoint for that portion of the total district's revenue is starting to recover from where we found ourselves last year and this year. So I did a second interim, both comparison, both revenue and expenses. So the next slide will be expenses. We have adopted budget, where we were at first interim, where our new projections are for second interim. There are 5 or 6 basic categories for revenues. One of them is that LCFF sources, and that is directly related to the revenue we receive from SELPA for special education, in addition to student attendance. So if students come to school more, our revenue will go up next year. And so we're just slightly increased. A lot of that has to do with our unduplicated pupil count that went from, I wrote it down, 2251 to 2364. So it went up just a little bit as it rolls forward in that calculation. Federal revenue went down just slightly because of decreased enrollment and decreased ADA. Our Title I dollars went down just a little bit. Our state dollars actually also go down when our ADA goes down. Primarily for this one, it is your Expanded Learning Opportunities program that went down just a little bit. Other local is going up because we're bringing those rental incomes where they've been generated in the past for Fund 40. We talked about that, a 2-phase bringing in of those last year and this year. And then we did increase our transfers in to utilize those dollars from Fund 53 and Fund 20 to help with the increased costs for this year. So you can see we went from 37 to 38 and now we're at 41. An expenditure comparison, you can see certificated is pretty close to what we originally projected. We've had a little bit of change in classified salaries, primarily due to paraeducators that we haven't been able to hire employees. And so those have shifted to contract costs. Our employee benefits, just as a reminder, are the retirement rates that are PERS and STRS, our health benefits, our unemployment, our workers' comp. And we always build into those multi-years that increase to our health and welfare costs. The 4,000s of books and supplies, just a budget realignment, shifting from those consumable items down into those other operating expenses. Biggest change is really in our services and other operating costs, as well as our other outgo. So that has a lot to do with those increased contract costs because the needs of our special education students has increased. We've had settlements and legal costs, as we talked about $500,000 more than last year has happened this year. And then our other outgo, we've had some increases in just the tuition for our students that attend county programs and other school districts. So we went from 40 to 41 now to 42. As we look at multi-year projections, impacts to revenues, so we talked about enrollment, the UPP, the student attendance. That change in the COLA will definitely affect us because we won't get as much next year as what we thought we were going to get at first interim. There are 2 one-time grants that are being projected in the budget for 26-27. And that is the last final payment for learning recovery. It'll be based on about $228 per 21-22 because that's when we originally got those dollars. So for Pacifica, it'll probably be about $140,000. And then there's a second student support block grant. This year we have about $400,000. Next year it's projected to be about 1.1. Any one-time transfers that we had revenues coming in, we've taken those out for the following year. And then we have to recognize that unless the parcel tax, Measure D parcel tax is renewed, that funding ends at the end of next school year. So those all affect our revenues. Then we have expenses. Automatic will always be the automatic step increases or salary increases that happen just because we have employees that have stayed another year. So they get that advancement on the salary schedule based on those negotiated salary schedules. I have about an 8% increase to the health and welfare costs. So that is increases to dental, vision, medical as a general rule. You've voted on staff reductions. Those are built into this. We're utilizing those one-time grants. We have 2 grants that are expiring at the end of this year. Educator effectiveness had a carryover balance last year of $246,000, almost $247,000. Those costs that are in 25-26 go away next year because the revenue is gone. So those services also go away. We also have an arts and music discretionary block grant that had a carryover of $807,000 that we're utilizing this year. That those costs also go away in the following year. I've built in reductions to software subscriptions. So Cyrus and Dr. Bowman have done a really good job going back and reanalyzing those things that we have got into the routine, just renewing. And so we have about 140,000 savings in that category. And then I'm planning on that 500,000 that we went up in legal fees this year that we're going to be able to save those costs next year. We do have some students aging out. So when we have our 8th graders that now become 9th graders, they go to another school district. So the costs that are associated with the county program tuition or our non-public school tuition, we have the ability then to take those costs out. So I've built in about $380,000 based on what Martha and her staff have come up with, those students that will be aging out. And then there's another group, a few students that are aging out in the following year. So those are all built into the expenditures as we come into that. So this is what second interim looks like. And now the new projections for 26-27 and 27-28. So while I can never guarantee that these numbers are going to stay the same, I can guarantee that they will change, right? Things change. We will have a May revise. The COLA could go up, the COLA could go down, the rate for the one-time grants could change. And so when those changes happen, we make those changes in all of our projections. So you can see where we've where we're at 26, 27, 27, 28. Overall revenues, biggest change, COLA went down, and then we have to pull out the parcel tax because since it won't be happening in 27, 28, that has to come out. Expenditures, as I explained, those staffing changes that you voted on, the legal costs, the tuition, the subscriptions, we've put all of those in there, having those things. Having said all of that, we are still maintaining a fairly significant deficit spending. Not being able to identify additional cost reductions, and in talking to the county, we went with using line B10. So line B10 on the multi-year is a line for us to be able to say we have a target of additional reductions, but we're not exactly sure which category of expenditures they fall into at this particular point in time. So in the multi-year for 26-27, in addition to all of the things that I've already discussed, we have an additional $375,000 right now that we are projected to need to find to maintain our 3% reserve. And then additionally, in the following year, it would be $450,000. Because there's a compounding to multi-years, if you find the 375 and we can maintain those costs, the 410 becomes much lower because we've already found 375,000 of it, if that makes sense to you. So we still, even with that, we're still deficit spending, but it's much lower once we find those additional reductions. So I have a beginning balance, the ending balance. Of that ending balance, it's split into really two pots, right? We have restricted, that is those dollars that can only be used for those particular purposes, just like the 2 one-time grants that I mentioned. The arts and music can only be used for that discretionary block grant, and the educator effectiveness can only be used for that professional development. When those have carryover balances, those expenditures have to stay with those. And so this ending balance, the restricted 3.7, 4.4, 5.1 are restricted for those particular purposes. That leaves our unrestricted ending fund balance, which includes that Fund 17, which is part of your 3%. And so we're still maintaining with the projected additional reductions about a 3% ending fund balance reserve. So lots of factors, right? Enrollment, LCFF funding, student attendance, all of those things. As our enrollment decreases, our state and federal funding goes down as well. So we try to factor all of those things in as well. We have increasing needs for regular students and special education students. I identify our students with special needs just because the costs are a little bit higher. So the impact of those additional needs hits us just a little bit harder than it does for the needs of the non-special ed students. Up here in this area, you guys have a hard time district-wide, county-wide of being able to hire staff, probably primarily because the cost of living is so high. And so we go with contractors. And so that shifts the cost of staffing down into those contract costs. And so that is just something that we've had to deal with. You have inflation on property and property insurance, utilities, health and welfare, the same thing that we have in our own budgets at home when our mortgages go up or our insurance goes up or our health costs go up. I kept the natural disasters because we had one last year, right? Power outages and tsunamis and those kind of things. They happen. And so we can plan for those, but if we can't anticipate what those are, those eat into those ending fund balances, just like it did last year and just like it is this year with our increased legal costs. And so those are those unplanned costs. We have other funds, and I apologize for this being so small. Next time I'll throw it into 2 slides, but we have a child nutrition fund, a deferred maintenance fund, our special reserve funds, our building funds, our bond funds. You'll notice on here is that Fund 35. So that is that those dollars that CC talked about that's being reimbursed by the state. That'll go back to the bond fund. And then we have our capital projects fund, Fund 40. So all of them have positive balances. They have to be used for those intended purposes. But I always want to make sure that I include those as well. So just as a reminder, we have 3 certifications that we can do. Positive, saying for sure we know we're going to meet our financial obligations. Qualified, we may not meet our financial obligations. And then negative, we are unable to. At this particular time, we're moving forward with a qualified self-certification, meaning that we may not meet our financial obligations. And that is primarily because even with the cuts that we have identified, we still have that unidentified line. And so in discussions with the county office, this is their direction and recommendation to us. And so I'm recommending that we go with qualified. We do have some next steps, right? You're going to approve the second interim tonight. Because we are qualified, we will do a third interim. That means that we'll be bringing to you in May a third interim, which will be another projection for 25-26. We will bring you actuals through April 30th. We'll bring you a new multi-year projection. Depending upon the board meeting, we may or may not know the May revise. So we'll know maybe the some new projections or budget parameters. We also need to start working on the 26-27 adopted budget that we will bring to you in June. At that time, we will have another report on this school year based on what we know at that particular time. And then as part of the adopted budget, it's a budget cycle. So we will now be giving you projections for 27-28 and 28-29, those next two future years based on adopted budget. That's the end of my presentation. Does the board have any questions?
Does anybody have a question?
I have a question. Is this assuming that the parcel tax sunsets then?
Yes.
Assuming that it does not pass? That we don't have the money?
At this particular point in time, because the parcel tax has not been renewed, I cannot include it past next year.
Okay, and then how much would it, how many dollars is that parcel tax?
It's just under $1 million.
Okay, thanks.
Dusty, I just wanted to confirm on slide 12, you talked about the deficit spending and you give us the 375 and the 161,000. That's an additional deficit with all the cuts we've already made.
Correct. So this slide has all the cuts that we talked about, the reduction in county program tuitions, the legal costs, all the staffing reductions that you have done. And we still are deficit spending and we still have to identify another 375 and 450,000.
Thank you for clarifying.
Also, there is an election coming up and I think that 3 board members will be on the ballot. And I'm hoping the parcel tax will also be on the ballot. Parcel tax renewal, is that factored in as well?
So neither of those at this particular time. Barbara and I had a conversation, but I had already finished the projections, not realizing that we did have an election year. So third interim, when we bring it, there'll be a little bit more expenses for next year for that election.
Thanks.
And just for clarification, how many teachers do we have being paid by the parcel tax?
There are 3 teachers, 4 counselors, and our library media technicians.
Okay, thank you. And then I have one more question or comment. Recovering ADA through Saturday school, is that something that is realistic that other districts do? And making sure that it's doing its purpose. You're not losing money.
There's 3 major attendance recovery programs. One of them is independent study. So that is where a parent and student says, I'm not going to be here. And so I'll sign an agreement. I take my work home. The day I come back, I bring all my work in. We're able to recover that ADA. ADA can be anywhere from $45 to $65 in a day. And so that's one. At this point in time, schools can actually issue independent study agreements for as little as 1 day. So you know you're going to be gone, then you can do that. The other one is Saturday school. So Ed Code says you can have it on any weekend, Saturday or Sunday, but we tend to call it Saturday school. And you can have that from the first weekend after the first day of school until the last weekend before the last day of school. Any absences that were from the beginning of school second day of school up until the end of March will count towards our ADA. Anything recovered after that March to May to June time period will help us with lottery, will help us with a couple of the other grants that are based on what I call annual ADA grand total for that year. There's also through the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, the ability to do attendance recovery as well. And so that one has another one. It's a little bit more complicated. And so it builds before you can actually get a whole day. But every 15 minutes counts for something. Once you get to that 4 hours, then you get a day of recovery. It does have to be supervised by a certificated teacher. So if we don't have certificated teachers in our ELOP program, we'd have to infuse them in there in order to get the attendance recovery.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions? I think I had one more.
Okay.
The rental for our facilities. So I'm just clarifying, was it 2.5 million? Or
No.
what was the 2.5 million?
So we get about 400,000 in rents and leases. Up until a couple years ago, that's always gone into that Fund 40. And so we've started to bring that back. We brought half of it back last year, and we're bringing the rest of it back. And so from now on, they will be in there because it'll come into general fund as a revenue source to be able to do that. I don't know the other what the 2 point was.
I was just curious about that.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay.
You're very welcome.
One second.
That was my fault. Apologies.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the 2025-26 second interim financial report with a qualified certification and authorize its filing with the county superintendent of schools? Second? Okay, we're moving on to 12J. It's an action item, resolution number 2026-03-11-F. Intention to terminate certificated employees due to a reduction of particular kinds of services in determination of a tie-breaking criteria. Speaker, Rachel Romo.
Oh, no, as public comments.
Oh, sorry, it's public comment. I'm going to try the best at the last name, Margaret Torme.
Okay. Hi, my name is Margaret Toomey, and I'm a sixth grade teacher at IBL. I'm not normally one to talk to meetings. I get really nervous, but I feel strongly about this topic. I'm here today to talk about the need to keep our 3 administrators. Today alone, I had one student who expressed to me that a family friend had passed away of cancer. This student was visibly shaken and needed someone to talk to. I had another student who told me that he wanted to call the suicide hotline. And this was all within the first, half an hour or hour of the day. I sent both these students to the office to meet with a counselor. On top of this, I have a second language learner and at least 8 students with 504s and IEPs. Meanwhile, I'm trying to teach the students about ancient China. This is just one day in my classroom. Middle school is a huge transitional time and students need someone to be there for them. We need to keep all of our administrators and counselors to function at the bare minimum. Thank you.
Shar Hilo.
Didn't think I'd be up here so much.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, cabinet. I'm here today not only as the school secretary at Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School, but as a dedicated community member. My students started Ingrid B. Lacey. They were the first class. I've been an employee of this district for 20 years on the IBL campus. Having witnessed the evolution of our school through decades of change, I feel a profound responsibility to urge the board to preserve both assistant principal positions and to reconsider the proposed reassignment of Mr. Garcia for the 2026-27 school year. IBL is unique as our district's only comprehensive middle school, and we get lumped in all the time, but we're your only comprehensive middle school. We serve approximately 650 students during the most volatile and critical transition of their academic lives. Unlike K-5 or K-8 settings, our students navigate a complex environment of rotating classes, new grading systems, and significant social emotional shifts. Everybody who has middle schoolers know their emotions, their hormones, everything's going crazy. Furthermore, IBL supports one of the district's highest percentages of students with special needs, IEPs, 504s, SSTs, requiring a level of administrative oversight that cannot be halved without compromising student safety and compliance. Our current leadership team, consisting of our principal and 2 assistant principals, by the way, we were promised that when my sons went there, and it never happened. And I was happy that it happened. It is finally a tuned engine. Their collaborative approach is essential. Rapid responses, managing behavior incidents and student safety in real time, compliance, ensuring rigorous special education requirements and family communications are met, instructional support, allowing the principal to remain focused on district level mandates and academic leadership. I am particularly concerned regarding the report that Mr. Garcia may be moved to council role. Mr. Garcia has spent years building an irreplaceable foundation of trust with our families. He now serves the children of former students who specifically look to him for stability. Moving him out of his administrative role would create a void in leadership, I can't speak, sorry, that no temporary solution can fill. Reducing our administrative capacity at this juncture would fundamentally weaken our ability to support our most vulnerable students. I respectfully request that the board explore alternative solutions to cover council vacancies that do not involve stripping IBL of its essential leadership structure. I invite any board member, cabinet member to visit our school. Firsthand, the daily complexities and high-touch supervision required to keep IBL running safely and effectively. And I probably missed something, but anyway, thank you.
Okay, we have Amy Swanson.
Good evening. My name is Amy Swanson. I'm an IBL parent. I'm a Pacifica taxpayer. And I just wanted to come here tonight to support our school. Currently, I'm just going to go off pretty much what Shar was saying. Currently, IBL has 3 administrators, 1 principal, 2 assistant principals. The district wants to eliminate 1 assistant principal and move him, Mr. Garcia, who is the only Latino male, as an administrator in this school district with 24 years experience, and move him into the school counselor position. IBL has 107 special education students and 5,504 students out of 640 students. Next year, it's projected IBL will have 659 students. That's the most special ed out of all the schools in the district. The 2 APs and IBL handle most of the disciplinarian safety compliance, while the principal spends a lot of her time handling special ed students, paperwork, meetings, supporting these teachers, and the 504 students. The 2 APs, they're the boots on the ground. And like Shar was saying, you know, these kids are middle schoolers and there's a lot going on there. If one of the APs are eliminated, it will have a negative impact on IBL and will affect safety and compliance, special education, and equity. The AP IBL, I already said that. The district is in a financial crisis, which has been thrown around a lot, and just gave the superintendent a $40,000 raise. The ask was $60,000. The board settled on $40,000. A deferment of a raise during a financial crisis would have been more appropriate. Also, the district was going to pink slip a vice principal at Cabrillo as well. But I was told at the beginning of this meeting that that's not going to happen. I guess the vice principal job over at Cabrillo has been saved. That's what a parent told me. I also would like to read this. As a reminder, the Pacifica School District mission statement. The Pacifica School District, the community it serves, and the children they cherish together prepare each child to meet the challenges of the future by providing an equitable, rigorous academic program which nurtures curiosity and inspires joy, confidence, and achievement in learning. Thank you.
Gwendolyn Holden.
Hi, I'm Gwendolyn Holden. I'm a 6th grade teacher. I'm Margaret's partner. So thank you for taking care of the emergencies before they came to me. She has them 1st and 2nd. I have 3rd and 4th. So thinking about cutting the supervision to 3. And, of course, I'm against that. And here's what I consider like our problem is, thank you, is going to become your problem, because I heard, and I'm sorry, the new Josie, you have a better name than that probably, but so we're worried about ADA. Well, kids in middle school aren't going to come to school if they're not supported. They start getting to be that age. I mean, I've had kids literally like hide under a bridge because they don't go to school because they're not feeling supported. That was a couple of years ago. But so if we want people to come to school and we want that money, we're going to need to have the students feel supported, and we can only do that by having 3 administrators. So if our ADA money is that important, you really got to consider the support we're giving them.
Rachel Merlot.
Hi, it's Rachel Merlot. Here I am. I'm an 8th grade teacher at IBL for 17 years. I'm a 7th grade parent of a student at IBL, and I'm the LSCA bargaining chair. I kind of had a speech, but I just wanted to say it's hard to talk about this after you guys just saw the budget presentation and are going to talk about how it's sad and we need to be financially stable and all of those things. We met at a budget meeting not that long ago and came up with all kinds of ways that had nothing to do with what was affecting school sites. I met with cabinet yesterday, and I'm just going to basically say the same thing. It's been 6 years since COVID. If any of you have not been in a classroom since then, teaching is not the same any longer. Our job is almost too difficult to do at this point. Middle school is an extreme and intense time for many students and families, big kids and big problems. IBL is the largest school in the district, and next year it's slated to be over 650. Removing an administrator will bring unnecessary turmoil, stress, and diminished resources to our students and staff at a time where we have not even adjusted to all the changes that just took place last year. It is critical that IBL maintains 3 administrators. Just one example. With the students that have IEPs and 504s, it's about 160 right now. Every single one of those meetings, if you only have one, requires an administrator. You will leave 25 days left in the school year that there will be 2 administrators, hopefully, with literally not another thing coming up. That's not even a month of school. When we talk about ADA, You're taking that away. You're creating more vulnerability for the school to have lawsuits. You are creating an environment where students don't feel safe, and you're putting yourself at risk as well. I have worked there for many, many years. I'm also concerned that by moving this person to the counselor position, that somehow you're going to finagle that because there's also an administrator credential that they can do both. That then leaves the position of a counselor to serve 650 students not being able to do that job as well. You've heard about the teachers who are asking for more help because I'm having crisis, because I have to get this student to be able to call the crisis hotline. Teachers aren't actually trained for that. We're trained for curriculum, and we're single subject curriculum teachers, meaning that we're trying to teach about like the 3 branches of government, not what to do in a crisis situation with 32 students. We have a different job. The new manner in which we are raising children and the new laws require that all of these interventions require an adult, and it can't be the teacher because we have a different job to do. You are leaving the entire school and community vulnerable to even worse. Please look at the budget and look at some other areas in which we brought up changes.
Thank you, Rachel. Taylor Esquivel.
Hello. I came to ask, very similar to everybody else here, about the cuts for the APs at IBL. Please don't do that. It just doesn't seem like a smart option to support our children. It is a very challenging time in their life, and having that additional support when a lot of kids are going through life changes can be very helpful. And like somebody else said, a lot of the kids will just stay home, and a lot of times parents don't have control over whether that happens or not. Kids are getting older, and it's just unfortunate that the budget's so bad that seems to be the only solution when I see things like smart whiteboards being talked about. That seems like that could be money to pay somebody's salary. So.
Jane Solano.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jane Solano. I'm a teacher at IBL. I've taught there for about 15 years. Mostly, though, I wanted to comment on the enlightened view I've got from my husband, who's been a yard duty teacher or yard duty employee at IBL these past 2 years. And his perspective has been really enlightening. His first year was before the addition of the kids from Valley Mar and Ocean Shore School, and it was basically him and Mr. Garcia to cope with behavior on the yard, and it was never enough. This year, because Cheeto and Miss Okunaga and Mrs. Alderson can rely on each other, the campus is run so much better. People like Joe, my husband, can spend their time with coaching up the kids and building trust and confidence for making good decisions. Relationships went from kids seeing the adults as cops on campus, just looking for trouble, to mentors, now that we have 3 APs, who would give their all to help them learn and have fun. I don't think this could have happened with a thinly spread team just trying to keep something really bad from happening. The team we have now work very well together and have helped create a positive culture. Despite this, it has been probably the most difficult year of my time in the classrooms of my years at IBL. And this is partly because of the huge numbers of new students adjusting to a big change, so many of which have special needs. Whether they have IEPs or 504s or not, kids right now in general are very high need. Whatever arbitrary number of administration you have determined to be acceptable for serving our population, it can't be right if the students are not taken care of. Our mission is to support children to become happy and high-functioning adults, and these are critical years for that mission. They need a lot of emotional support and positive adult guidance every day. The team at IBL has done great work this year. Please don't set us back by making us loosen our support and reduce our ability to care for and guide these young people. Thank you.
Nicole Fletcher.
Hi, PSD Board. I'm Nicole Fletcher. I'm a parent of some kids at Ortega and as well as on the PAC committee. The Parent Advisory Committee has been meeting regularly since the start of the year to review the LCAP. At our most recent meeting, we discussed the mid-year report. Goal 1.7 focuses on reducing behavioral referrals for non-suspendable incidentals at IBL. While the mid-year report does not provide the overall numbers, the subgroup data suggests that the incidences may be decreasing. We believe this improvement is partly due to the addition of the assistant principal role at IBL, which is referenced in Goal 2.1 through the allocation of funds for a 0.5 FTE position. Given this, it is concerning that the district is considering reducing the number of assistant principals. The added administrative support appears to be contributing to the fewer incidents and better outcome for students. Additionally, the LCAP indicates that approximately $400,000 in funds remain unspent, including funds intended to support English learner students. We urge the board to vote no on proposed staffing cuts until there has been more thorough review of the district's finances, particularly regarding the unspent LCAP funding. Thank you.
Jonathan Slushy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan Slusher. It's been a pleasure to serve as the interim counselor at Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School this year. I've been amazed at the level of compassion and involvement in student care from the staff there. Teachers and administrators consistently go above and beyond their roles to check in about student well-being. The staff eagerly follows up on students' continued care and progress. I've seen firsthand the immense positive effects this involvement has had on student mental health, optimism from parents, and overall school morale. It's very concerning to hear that there will be upcoming cuts made at IBL and throughout the district. Something that I hear consistently from teachers and staff is that there's a lack of presence on campus from district leadership and the school board. I'm deeply worried that those who are making the decisions on upcoming staff cuts have not yet taken the opportunity to first witness what they will be eliminating and what the repercussions of the cuts will be. It is unfortunate to hear that many teachers and staff feel that their efforts go unseen. I believe that a focus on maintaining staff and providing validation, hope, and optimism would have far-reaching effects, such as increasing morale with parents, ensuring student mental health support, and helping to retain enrollment. Such an approach should be a part of the district's fiscal stabilization discussion. I understand that the district has complicated cost considerations to weigh, but it is my hope that the decision makers will first take some time to visit classrooms, speak candidly with staff, and have a clear understanding of what they will be eliminating before finalizing any staff cut decisions. Thank you.
Brian Raynard. Brian. No, Brian. Stan Martin.
Hello, folks. Thank you for being here with the best interest of kids in mind. Looking for my glasses. I appreciate your time and your effort. I recognize that sitting in that seat must feel really hard. I'm Stan Martin, Pacifica resident, parent of 2 Cabrillo School alumni. They're now young adults. I'm a classroom teacher with 20-ish years of experience. I also have another 20 years of other teaching experience, most of it outside. I sometimes say I'm prematurely gray, but I actually think probably maybe I earned it. I'm here to remind you that teaching is messy. It's hard. In a recent meeting here, we were talking budget collaborative. And in that context, it's maybe easy to focus on the numbers. It could seem reasonable to add another student to a classroom or remove a staff member from a school site. The balance sheet needs balancing. But teaching is messy. One of my classes this year has 33 students, and that's 3 more than 30, which is my average. And I can do that math. I'm a math teacher. But they occupy the table that I set up for the lab stations and where I'm distributing materials and doing lab demos and that sort of thing. So those 3 kids have a significant impact. And it's not just where they sit. It's more papers, more time. But there's not more money. Teaching's messy. Looking at a spreadsheet, it's easy to see that administrators cost money and that fewer administrators would cost less money. I can do that math too. But again, teaching's messy. Administrators support teachers in supporting students. They're the problem solvers, the release valve, the trusted adults who students turn to. And a person can only do so much. We need people in these important roles. I invite you to come get messy with us. It's messy there, and walk in the shoes of the people doing these jobs. Appreciate the work that they do and how vital they are to our schools and our kids. Come join us, not just for a walkthrough, but to come get messy, to dig in the fun of what we do, to work with some kids, see what they do, see who they are, and recognize the support they need. So please come to IBL, spend some time with us. Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving on to action J. Speaker is going to be Rachel Romo, Interim Director of Human Resources.
Good evening, Board, Vice President Villalobos, Board of Trustees. So tonight I am presenting Resolution 2026-03-11F. And since the posting of this agenda item, the district has reevaluated its staffing needs for the 2026-2027 school year. And based on the updated enrollment and operational data, as a result, we are removing one of the FTEs for assistant principals from the list of particular kinds of services identified for reduction in the current resolution. So the updated list of staff includes 1 instead of 2 FTEs for assistant principal, 1 world language teacher, 1 special education teacher, a 0.8 FTE for single subject teacher, a 0.4 FTE for response intervention teacher, a 0.5 FTE homeschool teacher, and a 1.0 FTE school counselor. Are there any questions on this resolution?
Can you make the clarifications to what this would look like with the new updated numbers?
What this would look like at the supports for the moving for next year?
For example, yes, the support at IBL.
Yeah. So right now, the supports that we are proposing for IBL will include a principal, 1 assistant principal, 1 full-time counselor, 1 counselor 2 days a week, a full-time school psychologist, and there are no changes for the office staff.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have a comment, just considering that we are certifying as qualified tonight. The county is looking really closely at the decisions that we're making. Certifying as qualified is moving in the direction of state takeover. It doesn't mean that the state's going to take over, but we have to make impossible decisions, and I just wanted to acknowledge that.
And Rachel, could you clarify the list for me? Because I just want to make sure we have it correct. The special education teacher, are they resigning?
That is a contracted position.
So it's not
They're
a
anticipating.
employee? Okay.
Correct.
The single subject teacher
Is gonna resign.
is we're not laying them off. It's a resignation.
Correct.
Okay.
They're gonna, well, we're removing this one from the budget. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's what I was trying. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify those. I had my notes. I appreciate it.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Just one question with these, as with the others last week, we need to do this before the 15th, but if things change or things are rearranged, there's still time to rearrange between now and May.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
And
So if there's a way to
Yeah.
save that or rearrange that, the deadline's not tonight, it would be May.
correct, we have to give it early notice.
We can't do it opposite. We can make the suggestion now and then finalize it in May, but we can't wait and make the suggestion in May. It has to be done
Right.
now.
Right. That's why I thought the vote has to be today. It can't be postponed, but if we can save a position in May.
Correct. It has to
Yeah.
be done by the March 15th deadline.
Anybody else? Okay, so do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-03-11-F, intention to terminate certificated employees due to a reduction of particular kinds of services and determination of the tie-breaking criteria? Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to take a break for 5 minutes? Second?
sometimes do it. Yeah, like, power tables. Swapping? No, I just flipped. Oh, flipped it upside down. Yeah. I'm gonna try the other. Yeah. I mean, no, yeah, you know what's funny is sometimes like when I have to charge my phone, it doesn't like read it sometimes.
Calling the meeting back to order at 8:48. Adoption of resolution recognizing March as Women's History Month. Speaker is Dr. Carla Chavez Torres, Interim Executive Director of Educational Support Services.
Good evening, Board Vice President Villalobos, members of the Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Dr. Bowman. Tonight, I am presenting Resolution 2026-0311C, which recognizes March as Women's History Month. This observance provides a vital opportunity for our district to celebrate the rich history, culture, and enduring contribution of women to our nation's identity. The 2026 national theme, Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future, specifically highlights the roles women play in environmental advocacy and scientific innovation. By adopting this resolution, we honor trailblazers ranging from Susan B. Anthony and Sojourner Truth to modern pioneers like Dr. Jennifer Doudna and Vice President Kamala Harris. This recognition aligns directly with our LCAP commitment to educational equity and culturally responsive practices, ensuring all students, including girls and non-binary students, feel empowered to thrive. It is recommended that the Pacifica School District Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2026-0311C, formally recognizing March 2026 as Women's History Month in the Pacifica School District.
Are there any questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2026-03-11-C, recognizing March as Women's History Month? Second? Okay, now we're moving on to 12E, adoption of resolution recognizing March as Irish American Heritage Month. Speaker Dr. Torres, Interim Executive Director of Educational Support Services.
I would now like to present Resolution 2026-0311D, recognizing March as Irish American Heritage Month. This month allows us to celebrate the achievement of millions of Americans of Irish descent who have shaped our nation through leadership in labor, public service, and the arts. The story of Irish Americans is one of profound resilience, from overcoming the Great Famine to building the very infrastructure and schools that form our social fabric. Our resolution honors diverse figures such as labor leader Mother Jones, President John F. Kennedy, and artist Georgia O'Keeffe. Teaching this history helps our students understand our nation's immigrant roots, promoting the empathy and inclusion central to our LCAP goals. It is recommended that the Pacifica School District Board of Trustees adopt Resolution number 2026-0311D, formally recognizing March 2026 as Irish American Heritage Month in the Pacifica School District.
Are there any questions, comments? Okay, do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-03-11-D, recognizing March as Irish American Heritage Month? Okay, now we are moving on to F, adoption of resolution recognizing March 31st as Cesar Chavez Day. Dr. Torres.
Finally, I am presenting Resolution 2026-0311E to recognize March 31 as Cesar Chavez Day. This day marks the birthday of an American hero who dedicated his life to the dignity of farm workers and the pursuit of social justice. Alongside leaders like Dolores Huerta, Cesar Chavez showed us the power of collective action and nonviolence through the enduring motto, Si se puede. While the Pacifica School District remains in session on March 31, this resolution encourages our students and staff to reflect on the values of service and the fundamental rights of all workers. This recognition affirms our commitment to building schools where every student, including those from labor and immigrant backgrounds, feel seen and valued. It is recommended that the Pacifica School District Board of Trustees adopt Resolution number 2026-0311E, formally recognizing March 31 as Cesar Chavez Day in the Pacifica School District.
Any questions or comments? No? Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-03-11-E, recognizing March as Cesar Chavez Day? March 11th, sorry. March 31st. Second?
Thank you.
Moving on to G, Bond Oversight Committee appointments. Speaker, Dusty, District Financial Consultant. Evening again. So one of the requirements of both bonds and parcel tax is that you have an oversight committee. And they are typically, they meet at least annually, bring an annual report to the board, and typically, depending upon what the bylaws state, are for 2-year terms. So first item is to bring forward the Measure O and G, which was combined back in May of 24. When the new bond was passed. Your last annual report was given in February of 25. We are looking to have a bond committee meeting in just a couple of weeks to be able to bring you an annual report in April. The first step in that process would be to make sure that we appoint or reappoint those individuals who have either reapplied, said that they'll continue, or submitted an application. So we did an email recruitment. It was posted in the paper, and we did have responses to fill some of the vacancies.
So the board member memo that is attached to the board agenda item kind of outlines the committee is made up of one business person, one senior citizen organization, one taxpayer, and then one from every one of our schools. So the board member that we have moving forward is we have a vacant on the business person. So we'll still continue to need to recruit for that position. Same thing happened for the senior citizens committee as well as the taxpayer. So we'll have to work on filling those vacants. But we do have an individual who wanted to continue for Cabrillo. It will be his third term. And so the bylaws for the Bond Oversight Committee say you can have 2-year terms, no more than 3 consecutive terms. So this will be a final term for Cabrillo. We have a vacancy currently at IBL. And so the board memo outlines what vacancies we have, who we're reassigning due to a student that has aged out to fill the IBL seat, and then those that did apply. The applications are also attached but redacted so that we don't give out any personal information. We did have one individual that applied, but we did not have a seat for that particular school. It was already filled. So we're asking that you appoint these individuals to the Bond Oversight Committee, and then we will be able to move forward with our meeting in just a couple of weeks and bring an annual report to you at the intended annual report is at the April board meeting.
I have a question. Aside from the person who applied, but there's not a seat for, were there other applicants aside from the 3 on the agenda?
No.
Thanks.
So we had four applications that were received for the Bond Oversight Committee, and the individuals that were already on it said that they wanted to continue.
Did you have what schools are not representative on the bond committee?
Yes, at this point, it will only be Ortega.
Ortega?
And the 3 business community members.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You said the meeting was coming up. Do you have a date for that meeting?
At this point in time, it's scheduled to be the 23rd of March, but I'm still working out the logistics of that particular meeting.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion to appoint the applicants as additional members to the Bond Oversight Committee? Second? Okay, Dusty, don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Parcel Tax Oversight Committee appointments. We are on 12H.
All right. So additionally, we have a Parcel Tax Oversight Committee. Same kind of situation. We had some existing individuals. We did put out a call for applications as well for those. And the only responses that we did actually get was to that they were just interested in continuing. So we had no new applicants for the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee. And so we will have a representative. Cabrillo, we weren't able to confirm one way or the other if the individual wants to continue. So we'll still work on that. IBL, yes. Ocean Shore, yes. Ortega, yes. And then still Sunset Ridge and Valamar, still unconfirmed, but we had no new applicants. So same thing, we need to go ahead and appoint the committee to their next term so that we can move forward with the Oversight Committee meeting and with the intention to bring you a report at the April board meeting.
Question, can board members be on the Oversight Committee? And are there any board members on the Oversight Committees?
Yes, you're in December at your organizational meeting. There was Trustee Villalobos was the first, and then there was an alternate, and then reverse for the Bond Oversight.
Thank you.
Committee. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they were already assigned at that organizational meeting. Got it.
Thanks.
It's close to being finalized, but Dr. Bowman and I need to work a couple of things out.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion to renew current members of the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee? Second? Thank you, Dusty. Now we're moving on to I, Pacifica School District Transportation Plan 2026. Martha Ladd, Interim Deputy Superintendent.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. Bowman. Tonight, I am presenting the Pacifica School District's Transportation Plan for your approval. Ed Code Section 39800.1 as well as Section 41800 states that as a condition of receiving apportionments under Section 41850.1, a local education agency shall develop a plan describing transportation services it will offer its pupils. In accordance with Board Policy 3540, the Board of Trustees desires to provide for the safe and efficient transportation of students to and from school as necessary to ensure student access to their educational program, promote regular attendance, and reduce tardiness. The board shall weigh student and community needs against the cost of providing such services. The transportation plan that is recommended is economical, environmentally sustainable, and appropriate means of providing transportation services. The district's transportation plan outlines services provided to students belonging in the following subgroups: transportation for attending school via the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, for students with disabilities who meet the transportation eligibility criteria through their individual education plan, and transportation for unduplicated students, which is defined as 1, English learners, 2, meet income or categorical eligibility requirements under the National School Lunch Program, or 3, foster youth. The district participates in the Samtrans Youth Unlimited program and distributes passes for all eligible students and families that are interested. Are there any questions about the district's transportation plan?
Questions or comments? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the transportation plan? Second? Okay, we've already done J. So now we're moving on to number 13, Board of Trustees Superintendent recap and future agenda items.
We didn't hear that, don't worry. So you've heard some of the future agenda items. Both the Bond Oversight Committee and the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee will be presented, as well as the Wellness Committee and the Funding Action Task Force group that is working on equalizing our ADA from one side of San Mateo County to the other side. There'll be an update on the progress made through that task force as well.
Does anybody else want to go? Elizabeth? Oh. Bridget? You're good? I would just like to recognize Rachel, that I agree with Rachel as far as after COVID, even this job has changed significantly. So I do recognize that. I just wanted to let you know. And then I just want to follow up with how are we going to discuss the IBL proposition from parents who want a field? Do we have to put that on the agenda, or how does that work with the bond?
So the first step would be to complete the priority list, and then we need to meet and actually develop the plan for that bond measure, because it hasn't been developed. And as part of that, the field can be part of that conversation. I mean, I will say, I think it's on all of our watch lists. It's at one of my top priorities as well. And when we get that list of priorities, we'll review it, bring that out, and then we can have the vote for it. It will also include the workforce housing.
Thank you.
I did have one thing. Sorry. I'm curious to see how many people have opted out of the bond and parcel taxes over time. Just want to mention that. But they can like delay paying the bond until they sell their house, I think. That's the way I understand it. I think there is, I could be wrong, but we'll talk about it.
And I wanted to take a moment and just recognize Dr. Torres for her work and contribution to Pacifica. I can't compete with the resolution. That was awesome and beautiful. So it was very, very nice. But I wanted to thank you for all of your hard work and your dedication, and we're sorry to see you go.
Speaking of bonds and parcel taxes, thank you for the sign that you made. That I'm sure that made a huge impact on the vote for the voters.
Thank you, Carla.
She's like,
There you are, right there.
All right. Thank you, Carla. The meeting's adjourned at 9:05 p.m.